So we can go ahead and get started today. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. I'm going to hand it over to B for a quick introduction, and then we'll keep moving forward.
Thank you so much, Gabby. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is B. Torres. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I will be your Spanish interpreter today with the Community Language Cooperative. I want to thank you all for your commitment to language justice or language inclusion. Language justice and language inclusion means that we should all be able to speak and be heard in the language of our hearts. Therefore, I will be providing simultaneous interpretation during this afternoon's meeting. Once I finish speaking, we will activate that interpretation function, and at that time, at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you will see a globe icon that reads interpretation. Please click on that icon and select either English or Spanish as the language of your heart. If you are fully bilingual in both languages, you do not need to select one. I want to remind folks to please speak at a conversational pace so that I'm able to provide an accurate rendition of your message. Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es B. Torres y yo seré su intérprete con la Cooperativa Comunitaria del Lenguaje. Les aprecio mucho su compromiso a la inclusión del lenguaje o a la justicia del lenguaje, lo cual significa que todas las personas tenemos el derecho de hablar y ser escuchadas en el idioma de nuestro corazón. En un momento activaremos la función de interpretación y entonces aparecerá un icono de globo terráqueo. Por favor de hacer clic en ese icono en la parte inferior de su pantalla de Zoom y elija inglés o español como el idioma de su corazón. Si usted es bilingüe en ambos idiomas, no es necesario elegir solo uno. Le recuerdo que por favor hablen a un ritmo de conversación para poder brindar una interpretación precisa de su mensaje. Muchas gracias, ya comenzaremos. Thank you very much. We can activate that interpretation function now.
All right, thank you. So this is Gabby. Good afternoon once again. We're happy to have you here today. We've got some really great presentations and some really great information to share today on the agenda with Tim Gablehouse and then Ricardo from Larimer County. So before we get started, can everyone please put into the chat your name, your organization, your title, and something you are looking forward to next week? For me, I'll share with you all. I'm looking forward to tons of mashed potatoes and Thanksgiving dinner with my family 2 times on Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm going to be very full. Right. And Sadie is actually traveling back from Georgia today. So Tim and I will be here facilitating the meeting. She's still listening in, so she's still with us, and she'll be back next month as well. We're going to go ahead and get started. I know last month we had quite a few new attendees joining us for the first time. So I'm wondering if there are any new attendees in today's meeting. And if you could, please come off mute and introduce yourself. That would be really wonderful. And this is Gabby. I'm just going to give it just a minute, just in case, to make sure that if there is a new attendee today, they have the opportunity to come off mute.
Raven, are you new to the group?
Hi, yes, ma'am, I am.
Awesome. Raven, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what you do?
Sure. I am the new Emergency Preparedness Program Manager here at University of Colorado Hospital. I'm here at the Anschutz campus. I've been with them now for 3 months. Prior to me joining, I was the Medical Emergency Manager at Buckley Space Force Base. And prior to me assuming that position at the with the Air Force Base, I was on active duty status for about 12.5 years. And so it's still fairly new as an emergency manager, brand new to UC Health, but that's my background. That's where I come from. And I've been here in Colorado for about 5 years now.
This is Gabby. Thank you so much, Raven. We're happy to have you, and thank you for joining us today.
Of course, thank you, Gabby.
All right. Any others before we jump into our information sharing?
Hi, Gabby. It's Maria. How are you?
Good. Hi, how are you?
Good. It seems like I've been MIA for a while lately. So yeah, I'm the long-term care and congregate care preparedness coordinator for the Kentucky Department of Public Health in Frankfort, Kentucky.
Yay. Thank you so much for joining us today, Maria. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, we're planning to come out there in April, so we're looking forward to that.
Yay.
Yay. I'm happy to hear that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So before we jump into our discussion session for today, are there any highlights, resource requests, concerns, or just anything that's on your mind today? Does anybody have any updates? I know last time there definitely were some pretty good updates. So if anybody has anything new or exciting that's been going on this past month, please feel free to share.
This is Sadie Yale. By chance, do you have any updates from 211 that you might want to share?
Hello. Yeah, I can go ahead. So we've been pretty busy at 211. Our website unfortunately was down the past few weeks, so we're still kind of catching up. And also, sorry everybody, I'm Yael Holzman-Castellans. I'm the disaster response and business continuity manager at 211 Colorado and Mile High United Way. But yeah, we do have our team has been we've gotten a few different resources uploaded, so we've been responding to that. And then we also are in the works of creating resources for organizations that are supporting migrants from the Southwest border. I'm just getting word from Casey to see if I can share that out, but that's something that I've been working on with our team to make sure that we're bridging that gap for folks who are new to our community. So we've just been doing that and continuing to support and just join meetings for some of the recovery navigation program in regards to the Marshall Fire. So happy to answer. I know that was a very fast and very quick, but happy to answer any questions as well for any folks.
This is Gabby. Any questions for Yael?
Hey, this is Lisa with Tri-County Health. I just want to give a shout out to Yael. She did a presentation at the Aurora EOC training this week, and it was amazing. So a lot of good information. So thank you again.
Thanks, Lisa. And it was so great to talk to you virtually and everything. So thanks so much for having me.
Yay, that was really great. Thank you both for sharing. And we also do really like to recognize the good things and the accomplishments. So thank you for that. Connie, I see you on. I know I'm putting you on the spot. Do you have any updates?
Oh, goodness, where to begin? No, everything is going smooth. Lee, we have just received a $10,000 grant from Comcast, and we're going to be starting a tech lab and hopefully expanding that within the year. So that's what's running them up right now in my independent living world. And I'm so glad I get to be at this meeting. It's Meetingville, so you never get to go to all the ones you want. So I'm just glad to be here, help the team.
Awesome. This is Gabby. Thank you for being here. It sounds like there's some good work coming up for you. But busy, always,
Yeah.
but busy is good.
Hey, Gabby, this is Osborne, field manager with DHSEM. I work in the San Luis Valley area, so I have 7 counties down here, but overall, our field operations folks, there's 10 of us throughout the state. We are working on end of year reporting, and then preparing for our emergency management performance grant applications for next year. We're in a transition time where we're moving to electronic everything with the grant. So we're having to learn a new program and all sorts of input. So we're working hard on that. We're also working on multi-hazard mitigation planning updates and revisions for those counties that maintain those plans. That's a 5-year update every 5 years. And that's to maintain good graces with our federal partners so we can continue to qualify for grants and those kind of things. So that's underway. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We're always busy doing things. We're also working with Division of Fire Prevention and Control and all of our local partners updating our SURF reports, which is the Colorado Resource Rate Form for equipment. So fire trucks, police cars, all those kind of things, we put them in a program where we can see what we have availability to when we need it anywhere in the state of Colorado. So a lot of stuff going on there. I'm open to any questions or comments if anybody has any.
Congratulations, Oz. I love that. Pretty soon, hopefully we'll have CMIST response team members in that too.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah. I do have an update also. I was here at the International Association for Emergency Management conference here, and I was just moved into the chair for our Access and Whole Community Inclusion Caucus. And so highly recommend if you're a member of the IAEM to join that caucus. So just wanted to give everybody an idea of what it is. We're doing some really good stuff across the nation. So yay.
Yay, good stuff. This is Gabby. Thank you, Sadie. And do we have any updates or resource needs before we go ahead and move on today? This is Gabby. Don't worry. If there's time at the end, I'll check back in and make sure that I didn't miss anybody. So we're going to jump into our discussion session, and we're going to start with Tim Gablehouse. But I just want to check first to make sure that you are all good to go and ready for that.
You know, I think in theory I am. We'll see.
Okay. Fingers crossed. And then you gave us a few slides. Would you like me to present those out?
No, I've got, can you see these?
Yes, you are great. You're good to go. Thank you.
Well, I don't know if I'm great, but we'll give it a shot. Most of you probably have some experience in working with 501c3 entities, which are nonprofits. What has been going on across the country of late is a recognition that if you're looking for federal grants or state grants, if you're looking for government funding, it's got a lot of strings attached, assuming you can even get it. And so one of the things that the Colorado Emergency Planning Commission has been doing, and the NASPO organization, which is a national organization that represents state emergency response commissions and local emergency planning committees, is we have been going around encouraging anybody that is interested in local programs to look for local money to support those programs. And there are a lot of advantages to doing that I'll get into, and I'm not going to spend tons of time on this, but it's much easier than you might think. And I think it's important to recognize that if what you're trying to do is promote local efforts, regardless of what arena you're in, it is much easier to communicate that to people locally in terms of funding. So what is a nonprofit? First thing you do is you have to incorporate at the state level a nonprofit corporation. The fee for that is $100. It will take you not more than about 20 minutes to do. If you have a friendly attorney who's willing to do it, it'll take 5 minutes. And I do them pretty routinely, and it's straightforward. You have to state a charitable purpose. So that can be supporting local emergency preparedness. That could certainly be supporting integration of people with access to functional needs into local emergency preparedness. It's a variety of ways to state that. I recommend that you keep it broad and as generic as you can make it, because it's easier to get ultimate approval from the Internal Revenue Service. The application fee to the Internal Revenue Service is $200. My experience is that IRS approves these things if they've got a good nonprofit purpose pretty quickly. We've been getting approval within a couple of weeks. Now, even during tax filing season, that's fairly remarkable. And whomever is willing to front the money for the incorporation and the IRS fee, you can reimburse from later donations. So you shouldn't have too much trouble finding either local attorney, local individual, or quite frankly, you can ask me to do it at the end to set this up. The trick is you need to have at least sort of 3 people on the front end who are willing to be the initial board of directors. Board of directors is a corporate concept. They are essentially the people that control the corporation. Corporations often will have officers. You might have a president, a secretary, treasurer, whatever, but you only need 2. And they can also be board members. It's not terribly difficult to put together. So here are the advantages. The board of directors can decide on how you're going to use the money. You do not have to have any specific priorities. You don't have to have any specific conditions or limitations. You don't have to even have a formal process. As long as a nonprofit, you can document who you gave money to, what they were going to use it for, and how that might remotely relate to your charitable purpose, then you're in good shape. The money can be used for anything that's not illegal, which is a much broader range of things than you can use grant money for. I don't care if it's private foundation grants, government grants, or whomever. Those things always have got strings attached, limitations on how you can use the money, whether or not matching funds are required, things of that sort. And they may have fairly difficult and detailed accounting and reporting requirements. A nonprofit created locally is not required to do any of that. Okay? You are a private entity. You are not subject to any federal or state limitations or rules, other than you can't do things that are illegal. If you want to hold meetings and buy lunch, you can do that. If you want to buy equipment, you can do that. It is not anything that you have to seek approval from any state or federal agency. They don't control it. You're answerable only to the people that gave you money. And therein lies the great advantage. There are lots of organizations in your communities that have a budget for these kind of donations. The big box stores, anybody that's part of a national chain, they'll have an obligation to support local community activities. Much as they might support Little League or somebody else, they can certainly support a nonprofit that has charitable advantage that's relevant to its community. And it's simply a matter of being able to articulate to those people how you might want to use the money. And the ask you're going to have is not for huge amounts of money, because you're going to try to aggregate it. But experience says that raising $500 to $1,000 from car dealerships, banks, big box stores, whomever, is easy. It's typically not a major problem, as long as you can articulate how you're going to use it, and to some degree explain to people the advantages of that. All the money you're going to raise stays locally. And honestly, that's the sort of thing that many donors like. The idea that, okay, fine, you're going to spend this money here, you're going to use it here, that's terrific. I like that a lot better than going somewhere else with it. Now, people that make these donations get a tax deduction, and all you have to do as a nonprofit to support the tax deduction is write them a letter that says, "Hi, you gave me money, thank you very much," and how much. That's all they need for purposes of getting the deduction. So it's real simple, it's real straightforward. Now, at the same time, you do have a couple of obligations. Normally, you can't be spending money on the individual board members. You don't normally want them to draw a salary from the organization. But it's not necessarily a conflict of interest if a board member's organization is a recipient of money, provided that that's disclosed to the board of directors before they vote on it. So that's real straightforward. It's really a matter of you're not raising money to put it in your own pocket, which is the sort of outrageous circumstances you hear about periodically. Okay, you have to have board of directors. 3 is sort of the nominal way you want to go. You're going to have a conflict of interest avoidance statement. It's 1 page long. It's real simple. You're going to apply for a federal employer identification number. That is the corporate Social Security number. It does not mean that you're going to have employees. You may or may not, but you're not required to. It's just required. It's just called an EIN. You will need that in order to open a bank account. You'll need to have a document from the Secretary of State showing you were incorporated. Normally, the bank doesn't care about your IRS approval, but you'll have that in hand and you'll be able to show it to them. And you can go open a bank account. Normally, these bank accounts are 0 fee, and if you look a little bit, you'll find a bank locally that will open it for a 0 fee. There's an annual report that's due to the state that is filed online. It costs $10. And mostly it's to report what's called the registered agent. Every corporation has to have a human that the government and anybody else can talk to regarding the company. It does not have to be an attorney. It does not have to be a member of the board of directors. It just has to be a human over the age of 18. So it's easy enough to do. What you're going to get is a little junk mail from people that want to sell you stuff and give you credit cards, but short of that, it's not a big burden. You're also required to do an annual, what is called a postcard return with the IRS. It used to be an actual postcard. You now do it online. And all it basically means is, "Hi, we're still here." You're not reporting actual income or outgo. You're simply saying, "Hi, we're here." Now, if you happen to raise more than $50,000, which is a good deal, if you raise over $50,000, then you're going to have to find an accountant to do a very simplified tax return. But if you raise $50,000, then you've got the money to pay the accountant to do the tax return. So that's essentially fairly good news, frankly. So those are the reporting obligations. Very, very straightforward, very easy to do. Lots of people do them now, and many of you are already involved in nonprofits where you're doing this. The trick here is that you're just going to go out and knock on doors to raise money for your local programs. And that gets you out of the mode of being totally reliant on the money you can get from the federal government or state government or even local government, because it's a lot easier. So if you're interested in trying to do this, give me a ring, drop me an email, and I will be happy to chat with you further about it, because there are some nuances and details to work through, but none of them are very complex. We set up 3 or 4 of these every quarter across the country for people that want to do these kind of things. Some of them are wildly successful. We have some, that are raising well north of 6 figures to support local programs. So just depends entirely on how many doors you want to knock on in terms of raising local money and articulating what you need. But it certainly simplifies your life. So with that, I would be happy to take any questions if people have them, or drop me a note. just send me an email or give me a call, and I will be pleased and happy to chat further. So that's all I've got.
This is Sadie. I just wanted to tell the group the reason why we invited Tim to join this and help us through this is as we're starting to build those CMIST response teams, especially in our more rural communities, this is a way that can possibly fund those CMIST response teams. And so when we heard Tim present this out at the local emergency preparedness committee conference, I hope I said that right, or council, I'm not sure what the C stands for, but we were able to learn a little bit more about this. And so it just gave me an aha moment on when we're trying to build our community connectors, our ones supporting with access and functional needs in your community. So with that, I'm going to hand it back if anybody has questions for Tim. And Tim, thank you for joining us and giving us your expertise and knowledge.
I'm happy to do it. And Sadie, you're correct. Any local organization like this, the organization doesn't need to be incorporated. The organization doesn't even need to be formal. That's up to the nonprofit board of directors in terms of giving it money. We have many cases where you have these smaller groups are not incorporated. They don't even have a bank account. But the nonprofit can function as the fiscal agent. It can write checks, it can pay bills, it can do a lot of things on behalf of local organizations that they're really not capable of doing. And it's used commonly for that purpose. So you can, just because it's easier to set up a bank account if you're an incorporated nonprofit than a lot of other kind of volunteer organizations. So it can make life a lot easier, and it can remove a bunch of impediments that we all face. I mean, we all have these impediments in terms of trying to accomplish things. And honestly, this is a way to get around just sort of some of the administrative and financial glitches. Honestly, it's easy to raise 5 to 10 grand. I have seen these nonprofits literally do that in a weekend. Just by picking up the phone, knocking on the door, talking to the car dealership or the bank vice president, the big box manager. It's sort of stunning, quite frankly, how easy it is to raise money for something that you're going to do locally. So anyway, if you're interested, give me a ring. I'll be happy to walk you through it.
I give an example. We actually have a nonprofit, the Rocky Mountain Medical Reserve Corps, or Rocky Mountain MRC. They actually help sponsor our sponsors for the Access and Functional Needs Conference. And so we have learned how to work with this program to be able to have some of those nice things that are happening at the conference, because as certain statutes don't allow us to do certain things at the conferences, but having a nonprofit who can sponsor it and pay for it, that's how we're actually partnering up with our nonprofit. So just some ways to think about it. Hopefully it's doing for you as it did for me, where all your noodles are starting to work together, or your neurons. So thank you again.
This is Gabby. Thank you so much, Tim. I know we had a lot of interest in better understanding 501c3s. So I'll pause just for another second to see if there's any questions, and then note that we will have your contact information to share out to everyone in the meeting with the meeting notes from today, as well as that those 4 slides. All right, perfect. Thank you so much. So now we're going to move into a discussion with Ricardo from Larimer County on some community engagement and communication strategies. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Ricardo, and let you introduce yourself and ask first, do you want me to use your presentation or do you have it?
I have them pulled up, Gabby, and I can share them. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, so thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Sadie, for the chance to be able to jump on the call. And again, I'm Ricardo Perez, and I'm the Communications and Community Engagement Coordinator with Larimer County OEM. So yeah, I conduct more of the public information when we activate in the EOC, but also kind of act in the bilingual role and be able to disseminate information in Spanish. But yeah, so I'm here to chat a little bit about the communications and engagement work that we're doing over here in Larimer County. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see. Are y'all able to see the slides?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. All right. So I'm going to start with just like a really quick slide on Larimer County, just so you all get some awareness on, you know, what we are as a county and kind of where we are and the characteristics. But we do have the population. So we have Fort Collins, obviously, Loveland, Nestor, Spark are big municipalities, but we also have 8 municipalities throughout the county. And then we have a large rural mountainous area with the small towns and the small areas in the mountains. But we have had big fires, big floods within the last few years. And basically the Office of Emergency Management was established in 2013, 2014 after the Hyde Park fire. So really the office in OEM in Larimer looks to encompass kind of all the phases of disaster. I know some jurisdictions maybe focus more on response or really whatever the needs of that jurisdictions are, but in Larimer we do kind of focus on all the phases of disaster, and then while working to kind of build resilience in the community. But we do have a motto in Larimer OEM that I'll talk about. So it's doing the most good for those that need it most. So I'm going to share a little bit about the program that we're doing to build relationships here. Yeah, so our regional EOC up in Larimer, it's a joint effort between the city of Loveland, Fire and Rescue Authority, so the fire department, and then Larimer. We moved into the regional EOC in Johnstown, and those are a few pictures down there, the bottom 2 pictures. So yeah, it's a new EOC, and we're really working to establish more of the regional collaboration and coordination between the agencies that are in Larimer County, obviously, and our partners and municipalities. But yeah, we've had some pretty devastating disasters in the last few years and since the office began doing the work. But that's a picture on the right of Cameron Peak up in Estes Park, so the Estes Valley Fire Protection District, and the work that they were doing back in 2020. Yeah, like I mentioned, so a big piece of where we structured the community engagement and the communications work that we're doing, that we started doing this whole year and we're going to continue doing, is really after this motto of doing the most good for those that need it most. We understand that our role in OEM with the community is really to help those that need most assistance in through information and resources. So a big piece of that that we've been working on throughout the past few years is just creating sustainable relationships with communities, just to be able to protect life and property, and by empowering those that live within Larimer County, through all the phases of disasters. But yeah, the big focus is to make sure that we understand that we need to inform and educate and guide folks in times of crisis, the general public, but there's a special attention to be able to provide the resources and the needs to those that need it most. So we really intend to be community centered. It's not always easy to be in the tough conversations that we have in the community, but those are essential to making sure that we we continue to be community centered. We know the needs of the community, and that we're genuine, we're authentic in the way we engage folks, and we're there to listen and to really understand the situation so that we can try and coordinate, try and support in any way we can. But the collaborative and the way that we're able to work with our partners really goes a long way. And if that's the biggest piece that has really helped us, is being able to just establish working relationships, getting to know our partners, getting to know community leaders, and really understanding more of what it takes to be able to just know each other before, you going into times of crisis, obviously, but even before you start going into working meetings, the more that we can kind of establish those personal relationships, really go a long way in some of the work that we have to do. But specifically for communications and engagement for OEM, a big piece of that, since we do want to encompass all the phases of disaster and as well incorporate the resilience piece, we do want to make sure that number one, we're providing the public with accurate, timely, and useful information, through before, during, and after a disaster. So that's the number one piece, making sure that people are informed and they know that Larimer County OEM can be one of the trusted sources for information. And then the second piece of that is making sure that we have, again, that focus on cultivating and making genuine relationships with the community. This is one of the pieces why we were able to structure more of an engagement strategy instead of outreach. Outreach is most of the times more of a transactional kind of one-off piece of communicating with the public, but we really want to make sure that we're building relationships, kind of doing the work that takes a little bit more time, and that we want to be consistent in building relationships and engaging with the public. But yeah, that's a big piece for just making sure that we just continue to elevate the more awareness that we have in the community, and that we're able to better perform in the faces of disaster. And the third piece on this slide is in general we want to raise the awareness of our OEM program within Larimer County, again, as a trusted source of emergency related information, but making sure that people they know where to sign up for emergency alerts. They know kind of what to do in times of preparing for disasters, and if they have any questions, who their local first responders are, and that contact information is very important. So here next, I'm going to share a little bit about throughout the different phases of disasters, and what we're really focusing on in the communications and engagement piece. So if there's any questions, any comments, feel free to shoot them in the chat, or as I'm kind of going through these. But basically, from the preparedness piece, we want to inform the public that that there's multiple ways to receive emergency related information. So we really want to stress that building a preparedness kit, a family communications plan, and the how to prepare for everything workshops. So we partnered with Aaron Titus, who does a lot of work around the VOADs in Colorado and nationally. But he wrote the book, How to Prepare for Everything, and really facilitates a really engaging workshop on, teaching the public to focus on disruptions rather than disasters, and then making sure that there's clear steps for individuals and families to be able to better prepare for disasters. So we are able to hold one in Red Feather Lakes, which is a mountain community in Larimer County, a month ago. So we were able to collaborate with the library up in Red Feather Lakes, and then the community organization that is leading a lot of the local disaster preparedness information and community building up there. So yeah, it was a really successful workshop and being able to teach those community members and then community leaders that want to expand those conversations within their networks. So it was a train the trainer. So that was really cool to see the community engaged and being able to learn from Aaron on how to teach that workshop. But we'll be conducting those how to prepare for everything workshops throughout Larimer County this next year. So yeah, we're excited to have that. And then we're also going to have those in Spanish for the public. So yeah, then I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But yeah, from the mitigation piece, the real reason we want to engage with the public is to inform them and promote hazard mitigation within their areas or their properties, just to decrease or eliminate the threat in Larimer County. So a lot of the work that had been done since Cameron Peak on mitigation and restoration really helped this last year with the floods that we had in July. Some of the barrier bags, all that work that was done in mitigation really helped. It was it was actually like a success story in helping mitigate some of those potential kind of threats from the flood. So we do have a community mitigation grant program, which in 2021, about $50,000 were available for community members that wanted to create projects around their properties or making sure that there's a way to empower the community to make those adjustments, make those projects on their own. So we're hoping to do that next year as well, and keep on kind of building in that. But yeah, there's a huge need in that in Larimer County. From the response phase, it's pretty straightforward. We partner with a lot of our first responders. Our sheriff's office really takes a lead role in Larimer County whenever there's a large disaster, but we're coordinating with them on the public information that what has happened just after the aftermath, and what the impact is, and what is being done by our emergency management personnel, and really what the community can do at that point. So we want to continue to expand that, and again, the partnership with LEDA 911, who is the Larimer Emergency Telephone Authority, is huge in this piece as well, because they're the folks that do the emergency alerts in Larimer County and other counties as well. But yeah, they really help us in making sure that the public is informed in times of crisis. And then recovery, as we all know, it's basically informing the public on relief assistance. So we want to continue to do that. And a lot of what we've learned from Cameron Peak, the pandemic, the floods, is making sure that we have the information available in accessible ways. Again, that we're partnering with community organizations to making sure that kind of the needs are met of the community, and how we can continue to learn and grow in that piece. But for the resilience piece, this is that work that really glues everything together in a sense of engagement and communication with the public. It's if communities are better connected, they're better able to cope with disasters. So that's really the nature of leading with knowing your neighbors, that social connectivity, the increased trust and relationship building is really essential to making sure that we have a community that is well informed and better prepared. So this piece is really interesting to me, and again, I'm really thankful for Sadie and Gabby and all the work the AFN team has been doing, and educating through accident functional needs. So as I mentioned, so we want to make sure that our efforts are really targeted towards those that need more assistance, and being prepared, being informed, and see how we can collaborate with our community partners. So we really want to engage, folks that are aging, our youth, people that identify as having a disability, those whose first language is not English. So all the public information that we provide in Larimer, in 2023, it'll be both in English and in Spanish. So our preparedness guides, I'm going to share about our emergency preparedness 101 videos. So we'll have those in English and in Spanish as well. But we also want to be aware of those socioeconomic considerations and see how we can better support the county, from an emergency related perspective and that standpoint. But also we have a lot of tourists that come into the Estes Park, Rocky Mountain National Park area. So making sure that we inform those folks as well of some of the hazards and the threats that we have in the county and where they can go for information. And since we do have a large piece of rural folks that that choose to live in the mountains and choose to take in the scenery, and but there are some threats obviously with the wildfires, the floods, and making sure that they have the correct information, that they're well informed as well. And that goes without saying that all the public information that we're providing in Larimer OEM is also to the public. So we're doing traditional means of media, social media, our website, and kind of the natural means of communicating with the public is what we utilize. So so this picture right here, this is a picture of the Community Support and Equity Advisory Board that was formed after kind of the initial steps of COVID recovery. So from COVID, we established a Community Support and Equity Advisory Board, which was this is a potluck that we had last week and actually this week. And this was a really neat picture because this is a group that had been working together for the past 2 years and being able to see and support the Larimer Recovery Collaborative through an equity lens and making sure that recovery resources, recovery information was distributed equitably throughout the county. But this is a big piece of making sure that we're building and we're strengthening those relationships with under-resourced communities in our area and making sure that we know the needs, and really it's neat work being able to know the folks that are that are working through their everydays and with different communities within Larimer County. So and really identifying that and knowing that we have a really diverse community and really thriving through that work. But our focus is to make it easy for the community. Again, we've had some lessons learned from past disasters on being able to make information accessible and make it easy for the community. If it's having open conversations and sometimes needing to be vulnerable, which can be interesting in a government kind of standpoint, but it really it opens up the space for having mutual respect and mutual learning in those conversations that can kind of lead to working together. But and that work really helped us see and feel that together we can accomplish a little bit more, and that those are sustainable relationships that can help the county or the organizations, and making sure that those relationships are also mutually beneficial was a huge piece. And all the work that kind of recovery phase helped us learn. So we want to make sure that we apply that and continue to make more genuine connections. So we do, like I mentioned, we do want to be able to provide public information in Spanish, everything that we're creating, social media, website, presentations, That'll be my role, is to make sure that the information is in Spanish as well, and that we engage with the Spanish speaking community. But yeah, the collaboration, like I've mentioned, is huge, and making sure that our municipalities, our community organizations, libraries and school districts also know that, you know, there's an OEM office providing some information, and that we can we'd love to be able to share that information with them and with their students and really the youth, right? Program is that they go through the program and then sometimes they're not used or they're not deployed. So this is more of a community education program on teaching disaster preparedness through leadership, community building, more of the resilience piece, to making sure that they can identify how to be better prepared within themselves, how to engage with government institutions, and then follow those conversations with their community if they like. So yeah, I talked a little bit about the how to prepare for everything workshops in the community education program. But yeah, we also have these emergency preparedness 101 videos that we started creating this year. And these are on our website. So they're 5 to 10 minute videos on different topics of disaster preparedness. So we have a few on water evacuations, water sheltering in place, what you should have in your preparedness kit. We just rolled out a winter preparedness and vehicle safety video. And there we have about 6 different topics, but again, they're basically a really easy way to get information out and inform the public. We recorded them like a Zoom call. So it's low budget. You just go through and kind of, you know, similar to what I'm doing right now, presenting a few topics on some slides and just making sure that they're quick tips. And that's the purpose of these 5-10 minute videos. So if they have time, if people have time, then they can learn a little bit that way. But yeah, we have them in English and in Spanish. So we'll have those available in our website. And so on the bottom right there is our LEDA 911 emergency alerts. So they rolled out this new platform in April this year that it's the Reachwell app. So if y'all haven't heard about this, which y'all may have, if not most of you, it's an application that LEDA 911 uses to be able to translate emergency alerts. And the application, you just download it on either your iPhone or your Android mobile device, and the application instantaneously translate the emergency alerts to one of the 103 languages that that users can pick from. But this is huge, and LEDA 911 had been looking for a solution to be able to communicate and have emergency alerts in different languages, but this solution really was able to achieve the level of efficiency and of the translation that LEDA was looking for. So I believe the translation is 93% accurate, which is amazing. So yeah, that's also something that LEDA has available. I mentioned Camille, our preparedness and resilience coordinator. So Camille has been engaging with our rural community and making sure that these community hubs are established. So these community hubs is a concept really to make sure that in times of a large power outage or a disaster or scenario where traditional means of communication are down, that the community knows that there's a place in their rural community that they can go for receiving information and receiving resources in times of need. So most of these, if not all of them, are either rec centers, community libraries, or community buildings, apart from, fire stations or first responder buildings. So in times of an emergency, we don't want to overcrowd those buildings. So we want to make sure that they're a building that is recognized by the community, and that coordination is established ahead of time. So as of now, there's 18 community hubs that Camille has been working on. And really the process is now to making sure that kind of the process of whenever a community hub is needed to be able to get to that point in the coordination. But as of now, they're established, and really we'll be working to enhance that process. But yeah, this is super exciting. Just another way to making sure that the community is informed and that they have the resources that they need in times of crisis. So we do want to make sure that we're staying on track, and that we know how to kind of measure success. What does success look like in kind of the work that we're doing? So one of the metrics that we'll be using yearly is to evaluate how much of this public information in Larimer County OEM is in Spanish, and then find ways to expand that. We know that Spanish is the second most spoken language in the county, but obviously there's other languages. We have CSU, Colorado State University, that has a very international hub. So we know that there's other languages in Larimer County, so we want to work to expand that and see how we can provide public information in other languages as well. But again, we want to make sure that we're staying on track and making sure that if we're engaging with folks from under-resourced communities, that we're sharing the information that Larimer OEM has, and and informing folks of disaster preparedness, disaster response throughout the different phases, but that we're also active members of the community and participating at outreach events, and that we have consistent participation. Consistency is a big piece in some of the work that we need to do as a community, and making sure that again we go away from kind of those one-off engagements of doing a survey and not coming back to share some of the outcomes and some of that lessons learned, but making sure that we have consistent participation with the public. So yeah, we do want to make sure that we work towards identifying those community champions. I think a big piece of the conversation that I had with Sadie and Gabby was to make sure that we have identified community champions that can help us engage more with the community, and making sure that the trust is there to share that information from Larimer OEM to the community. So the conversation about CMIST response teams is really interesting to us at Larimer, and yeah, we love to making sure that there's a process to be able to see where we can best plug in some of these processes. So yeah, all that has been really helpful for us. But and I think that's basically I know that was a lot of me rambling on, but if there's any questions, any thoughts, yeah, I'd be happy to share a little bit more about what we're doing, and I hope that was a little bit of information that could be useful to you all. But Gabby, was there anything specific that you wanted me to touch on?
This is Gabby. No, that was actually absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. I know especially, we've heard a lot just that with this wobble of COVID, we were all inside, and now we're kind of back to being in the workplace. And there has been some struggle with that community engagement and community outreach. So I think that this could be really beneficial for the entire group and kind of working towards implementing different processes, plans, and procedures in their own and all of our own communities. So I will open the floor for any questions, if anybody has any questions for Ricardo or comments.
Hi, this is Connie. I just wanted to say I'm very excited to check out the videos you guys made that are on your website. So thank you. It's just another great way to reach out to people.
Well, sure. Yeah, I'll put the website in the chat for those videos. But yeah, thanks.
All right, any others? It seems like we have a quiet bunch today, which is understandable. It's pretty chilly outside.
Hey, I'll speak. It's Lisa,
Yeah.
County Health.
Yeah.
Hey, Ricardo, how long really did it take you, the timeline, like for getting this all implemented in your program? I mean, do you have like when you started this whole building and building and building?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a great question, Lisa. So my role, I jumped on with OEM a little less than 2 years ago. Yeah, March 2021. But my role, I was hired on to do communications and engagement, bilingual communications and engagement for COVID recovery. So I've been focusing on, building this strategy specifically for COVID recovery, but within, the beginning of the year, I've been able to focus more on OEM in general. So we really were able to take some of those lessons learned and kind of that initial strategy and expanding it towards what OEM would need. So yeah, we've been working through the past first year, and then just made adjustments as needed.
Right.
Again, yeah, we're at a place where we want to make sure that we're working on these things, but we want to make sure that we're always learning and see what other kind of best practices we could include that could be helpful as well.
Right, and keeping the connections up that were made through COVID.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just brilliant. And I think, a lot of us, I mean, I'm going to a new health department. Several of my colleagues are too, and that's a really great perspective. And thank you so much.
This is Gabby. It looks like we have a hand up from David Osborne.
Thank you, Gabby. Hi, Ricardo. Thank you for a bunch of great information. I did hear you say when referencing the Emergency Operations Center, I heard you reference regional. So this EOC, this new EOC, this is the Larimer County's EOC, I take it. But is there an effort to make it more regional, like more of a regional collaboration to have some of your surrounding counties, neighbors participate or use it when they have an incident?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, a big piece of that. The regional aspect, we really want to make sure that the collaboration and the coordination from the agencies within Larimer County, that those policies and procedures are established. But yeah, by all means, our neighbor counties, we've been visiting other counties throughout this past year, as well as learning, some of the processes that other counties are doing. But yeah, I would really vouch for making sure that, we partner with our neighboring counties as well. So yeah, our director, Lori Hodges, really makes sure to understand that, whenever there's a different need in a different county, then we're always here to make sure to help and collaborate in any way we can. So yeah, I think there's a lot of room for that too.
Thank you, sir.
All right, any other questions? All right, this is Gabby. Well, a big thank you, Ricardo, for being here and sharing all of that with us today. As always, and just like with Tim's information, we will be putting that in the notes and make sure that that's sent out to you. So if anything comes up while you're still thinking about everything you've heard today, you definitely can still reach out and ask questions in the future. All right. So next up, as we kind of wind down today's meeting, we did last month in the notes and in the meeting discuss a changing of the date and time of the meeting for this specific meeting, just to see where everyone was really at, to see if everyone was still able to attend when they'd like to attend. And so I'm going to hand it over to Tim Mann really quick to give us an update on that.
Yeah, this is Tim. Thanks, Gabby. So we did end up reaching a decision, and it was fairly close in the poll responses. We did have a majority say that we'd like to keep it on the same day, the third Thursday, from 2 to 3:30 p.m. Mountain Time. However, we did have enough responses for the second Monday for 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. So we came to that decision to actually, oh, Sadie, looks like you've got something.
Yes, I was thinking about that a little bit earlier before you were going to go into it. So I wanted to pause you.
No worries.
Because some of the people who voted to try to move it to a Monday, we were thinking of maybe doing every other month on Thursday, and then the other months, which we were thinking the even or the odd months, we would keep it on a Thursday and then even on a Monday. And so, but I don't want to lose the momentum that we're having here. So we might add a Monday every other month. And so instead of having one meeting, we would have 2 meetings in that month. And if you can't make the Thursday, then you can make the Monday. And that would just be 6 times a year on that one. And so that's how we think that would be beneficial for the group. Any comments or questions about that? Would you, because I think we have a consistent over 30 participants every month. We are not losing that. We haven't lost that in the 2.5 years that we've been doing this now. And so I don't want to lose that. And then everybody starts getting confused on the dates, but I would like to add that extra meeting for some of our partners and stakeholders who consistently have to miss this meeting, to start having a voice in the plan with approach. So, so please give us some feedback on that.
I'll pipe in this, Oz. I appreciate what you're doing, and I like the fact we're trying to, be inclusive and plan with everybody. So that's what we're all about, right? So I like that. I guess my caution would be, if we get to a point where we every other month, like we're changing on odd months or even months or whatever, if it gets complicated or confusing, we're going to lose folks. And when we know that these dates are set and this is when they're going to be way ahead in our calendars, that goes a long way nowadays. So just to watch out, I guess would be my comment.
And so that's why I decided to go ahead and keep this one set. It's going to be monthly no matter what. We're just going to add an extra meeting every other month for those to attend on the Monday. So, and
okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Sorry, everybody.
This is Tim. No worries, Oz. And it looks like Lisa has her hand up. Go ahead.
Hey, it's Lisa, Tri-County. Just to clarify, sorry, my brain is slow, but so the additional meeting will be basically bringing folks up to speed of what they've missed, and then, you know, possibly recapturing some new material too. Is that right, Sadie? Am I understanding that right?
It will be, yes, getting caught up, and it'd be
Okay.
a duplication of
Right.
what is happening in this one. So it won't be any different information. It'd just be times two, right? Doing it twice, doing that.
Right, and then another set of minds too to like chime in and whatnot. Okay. I
Yeah.
heard that.
Yay. I'm happy to hear this feedback.
This is Gabby. Oh, yep, Juliet.
Sorry, this is Juliet. Who is often double booked and is making meeting choices. This is terrific because I will be able to kind of decide meeting space is friendlier that week. So, I
Juliet,
appreciate
this is
that
Gabby.
approach.
Your sound is coming through pretty in and out. Just
Oh,
in
okay.
case.
I'll type it instead.
Okay, because I heard it's great because of switching and choosing and crossover with times, but I just wanted to make sure that we were actually getting your feedback and not just parts of it. Any other thoughts? All right, well, thank you so much. And Sadie, thanks for jumping in there and really explaining that, you know, we really are changing and morphing to make sure that what works is something that really works for everyone. So we'll keep moving forward. And really quick, I just wanted to share, we'll do some share and updates, but Luke Adams actually shared with me to share out with you all a update. So for the Colorado Commission for the Deaf, Hard of Hearing, and Deaf Blind, they actually, I'm going to put the link for you all to see it in the chat, but it's an accomplishment. They received a domestic violence award. So it's received it for the Outstanding Partner of 2022 award for Deaf Overcoming Violence Through Empowerment. And so just a big accomplishment that we want to recognize today while we recognize all the good work that we're all doing. And then to move into a lot of the work that we have been doing here with the Access and Functional Needs Conference coming up in April. So we did want to share out, just in case somebody may not have seen it yet, the save the date, which is, and I believe Tim will put all these in the chat, and if not, I'll drop them in. But the save the date dates are conference for April 12th and 13th, 2023, with all of the super fun information. It's going to be in Estes Park, Colorado. And then additionally, we have a call for sponsors and call for exhibitors. With that exhibitor call, we really want to put out a focus that this conference, this round, is focusing on the independence resources of our CMIST memory tool. So we've got communication, maintaining health and medical independence, safety and support services, and transportation. And last year we did maintaining health and medical, and the year before that, communication. And so this year is that I focus. So if you know of any exhibitors, just to please keep that in mind, because that's really what we're trying to aim our focus towards. And then additionally, we have put out our call for awards nomination. And so we really wanted to share that out with you. Right before this, we did a yay for recognizing accomplishments. And that's really what this is for. We are all doing really great work. You are all so wonderful. And so we really want a chance to recognize those individuals and those organizations that are doing that wonderful work. And so all of that information is going to be in the chat, and then we'll share that out in the notes as well. But I will take a moment to breathe and ask if there are any updates from our statewide partners, regional field operations, ESF8, ESF5, any of our partners. I'll take a moment to see if there's any upcoming that you'd like to share.
I'll stand back and wait. If somebody else would like to, I can do the same kind of report I did earlier today, if that's interesting enough.
It's perfect.
So field operations, there are 10 field managers in field operations spread out through the state of Colorado. I have 7 counties in my region, in the San Luis Valley region, which is the most beautiful region in the state of Colorado, of course, and my favorite place to be. Anyway, we are all hard at work with our emergency management performance grant. It's end of the year reporting and also applying for next year's grant funding as well. We are in a transition period as we're switching from pen and paper and submitting requests for reimbursements that way to completely electronic through EM Grants Pro. So we've had quite a bit of training on that, and even us old folks like myself can learn to do new things, and that's good stuff. So we're also engaged in updating around the state multi-hazard mitigation plans. Those plans are updated on a every 5-year basis to keep us in good graces with our federal partners for funding stuff. So, and also identifies mitigation projects. We're starting to report our snowpack again. We're in that season. Unfortunately, we're already at 99%. We dropped from 180 something to 99% today in Upper Rio Grande. In Gunnison, about 122% and 107% in the southwest area. So we'll be watching that all year. And what else? Oh, and I failed to mention our academy. We had our first academy was last week, and we're hearing nothing but just fabulous things about the EM Professional Emergency Management Academy. They've got 6 more months to go, but it looks really good. So thank you for the time. And if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
This is Gabby. Thank you so much for that really great report out. Sounds like you are busy as always, but hanging in there, and hopefully you'll get some nice time to spend next week taking a breather. You know, I'm just gonna give it a quick call out in our last 2 minutes. If no one answers, then we'll go ahead and move on. But I see Maggie, you're on. I don't know if we've heard from you in a little while. I just wanted to check in and see if you have any updates or anything for us to look out for in the future.
Hi, Gabby and everybody. This is Maggie. I'm off mute, right?
You are, I hear you.
Okay, I can never tell. I apologize. I don't have anything new to add. We're still going strong down here in Colorado Springs for the Rocky Mountain region. We just did open for applications for our advisory committee. And so if anyone might be interested in that, you can look on our website. We'll be closing those applications here soon. But it's if you're interested in that, it's a great opportunity to network in our area. And we look for all aspects of experiences and information. So that would be a great, again, another great opportunity for us to work together. Other than that, everything's going great.
This is Gabby. Thank you so much for sharing all of that, Maggie. And that
Mhm.
is good resource. So we definitely will make sure that we share that in the notes so people have a chance to see if they're interested in applying for the advisory committee before that opportunity closes.
That would be great. Thank you.
And I see it looks like Juliet put in the chat that the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment has launched the Healthcare Worker Resilience and Retention Initiative, which is a statewide program focusing on the wellness and mental health of healthcare workers and frontline workers impacted by COVID-19. Our first project launch has been a long-term healthcare worker support program across the state. And then she included the support and resource line number and the email address for reference as well.
Gabby, could I chime in again? This is Maggie again.
Please do.
My bad. The applications are closed. I just went online to find the email address and it was closed. So I apologize.
This is Gabby. Thank you, Maggie. That is a-okay. We caught it just in time. So thank you for sharing regardless.
So
It's nice
check
to hear
back
you.
in 2 years. They're a 2-year term. So 2 years we'll be looking for some new folks. So check back then. Thanks.
Perfect. We'll take note of that one. All right. And Amy or Julia, do you have any updates for us today?
If you're asking Amy here, and I don't have anything, I'm really just here to learn what's, oh, maybe you're asking other Amy. That makes sense. I'm gonna be quiet now. Carry on, other Amy.
That's all right.
Original
No,
Amy.
Amy Heron, it's awesome to hear your voice.
This is Amy Both Siebert. The one other thing I guess I could highlight from the health equity branch in CDPHE's Decipher division is that right after the holidays, January 2nd is the estimated date, will be the next round of the COVID-19 Health Equity and Immunization Funding Opportunity, RFA. So I'll drop that in the chat, but just as a reminder, it's promoting sort of organizational opportunities to expand or develop mitigation and prevention resources and services to reduce COVID-related disparities, to expand support for COVID-19 prevention, to increase COVID-19 vaccination capacity, especially among high-risk or underserved populations, ensure equitable distribution, and increase vaccine confidence through education, outreach, and partnerships. We know that there's sort of a lot of work going on to sort of bring together the lessons that we've taken from the past few years. And in a lot of ways, some of this is still ongoing. So if you especially have community partners who are deeply involved in that, or community organizations who are looking for funding that could help their ongoing outreach and support of that response, please do let them know about this funding opportunity.
This is Gabby. Thank you, Amy, and thank you for including that in the chat as well. Okay, I'm going to pause a moment for any others.
Gabby, this is Yael from 211 Colorado. Sorry, y'all, I just wanted to, I'm going to drop the link right now, but I'm going to drop our immigration resource list that we put together, and we've been sharing that out with local and state partners, as I mentioned earlier, just because we're working together just to support folks who are coming from the Southwest border, who are oh, thank you, Amy. Love that. But yes, we're looking to, share that out. We would love any feedback. If you see agencies that are not on there that should be on there, please let me know. I'll put in my email as well, but we'd love any feedback on that. We're really trying to make that robust for folks who are coming up so we can provide that assistance. But yeah, thank you so much.
This is Gabby. Awesome. Yes, thank you. All right, I won't hold you guys any longer. If anybody has any other comments or questions, feel free to stick around for a minute. But thank you all. I know I won't be seeing you next week, and we won't, but we all appreciate everything you do, always, but especially in this grateful season. So thank you, and have a wonderful day. And then again, thank you to Tim and Ricardo for being here for our discussions today. And then thank you, interpreters, so much for being here as well.